ladra, ladra Italian pronunciation, ladra. The Thieving Magpie is a melodrama or opera semiseria in 2 acts by Gioachino Rossini, with a libretto by Giovanni Gherardini based on La voleuse by Théodore Baudouin d'Aubigny and Louis-Charles Caigniez. The Thieving Magpie is best known for the overture, which is musically notable for its use of snare drums. This memorable section in Rossini's overture evokes the image of the opera's main subject, a devilishly clever, thieving magpie. Rossini wrote quickly, and ladra was no exception. A 19th-century biography quotes him as saying that the conductor of the premiere performance locked him in a room at the top of La Scala the day before the premiere with orders to complete the opera's still unfinished overture. He was under the guard of 4 stagehands. Performance history. The first performance of The Thieving Magpie was on 31 May 1817 at La Scala, Milan. In 1818, Rossini revised the opera for subsequent productions in Pesaro, and then in 1819 for the Teatro del Fondo in Naples, in 1820 for the Teatro di San Carlo in Naples, and in 1866 he revised the music for performance in Paris. The 1866 revision included embellishments and variations written specifically for Giuseppe Vitali, who was singing the role of Ninetta. He revised the role again in 1867 with embellishments and cadences for Adelina Patti. The first performance of The Thieving Magpie in England was at the King's Theatre, London, on 10 March 1821. A French-language opera comique using the original title of the French source material La voleuse in a version translated by Castel Blaise was premiered in Lille, France on 15 October 1822. The French-language version's first performance in the United States was at the Theatre d'Orleans, New Orleans, on 30 December 1824. In 1941, Riccardo Zend and I composed a version of The Thieving Magpie for a revival of the opera in Pesaro. In 1979, Alberto Zed edited Rossini's original composition of the opera for publication by the Fondazione Rossini. In 2013, the Bronx Opera of New York City performed an English-language version of ʻGaddza. Roles. Synopsis Act One. At the house of Fabrizio Vingradito and his wife Lucia there is joy for the imminent return of their son Ginetto from the war. One of the servants, Ninetta, is in love with Ginetto, and all want the two to marry except Lucia, who blames Ninetta for the recent loss of a silver fork. Isacco, a local peddler, visits and asks about Ninetta, but Pippo, Fabrizio's manservant, sends him away. Ginetto arrives and goes inside with Lucia while Ninetta prepares for the party. Once they have gone, Ninetta's father, Fernando Valebella, arrives, also from the war. However, he was sentenced to death after fighting with his captain and is now a deserter. He asks his daughter to sell 2 pieces of family silver to go towards his expenses while he is on the run. The mayor arrives with intent on seducing Ninetta, and she claims that her father is just some vagrant. The mayor's assistant delivers the arrest warrant for a deserter Fernando, but as the mayor has forgotten his reading glasses, Ninetta is asked to read the warrant, and makes up a description of someone totally unlike her father. The mayor continues to force his attentions on Ninetta, at which Fernando almost reveals himself in anger. The 3 leave, and a magpie flies down and steals one of Lucy's silver spoons. Isacco passes by again, and Ninetta sells him the silver her father had entrusted to her. Ginetto and others return, and Lucia notices that a spoon is missing. The mayor starts an immediate investigation, stating the draconian penalty for domestic theft, death. Lucia and the mayor accuse Ninetta, who in her distress drops the money she had exchanged from Isacco. The peddler is brought back and reports that he has already sold the spoon, but he recalls the inscription FV, initials shared by Fabrizio and Fernando. The stunned Ninetta, desperate to protect her father, is unable to refute the accusations, and the mayor orders her arrest. Act 2. Antonio, the prison warder, takes pity on Ninetta and says that he will get a message to Pippo and let Ginetto visit her. Ninetta convinces Ginetto that she is innocent. The mayor now arrives and tells Ninetta that if she accepts his advances he will get her freed. She replies that she would rather die. The mayor is called away, but Antonio has heard all and offers to help Ninetta any way he can. Ninetta asks Pippo to sell a gold cross and put some money for her father in an agreed hiding place, a chestnut tree. Ninetta is brought to trial, found guilty, and condemned to death. Fernando rushes to the court to save his daughter's life. Ernesto, a military friend of Fernando, bursts in looking for the mayor and holding a royal pardon for Ninetta's father. Pippo shows him the way and is given a silver coin for helping, but the magpie snatches it and flies up to the tower. Pippo and Antonio pursue the thief. Ninetta is taken to the scaffold and makes her final speech to the crowd. From the tower, Pippo and Antonio cry out that they have found Lucia's silver in the magpie's nest, and they ring the bells. The crowd hear their words and hope to save Ninetta, but shots ring out and they conclude that they are too late. However, Ninetta appears walking down the hill. The shots were mere rejoicing. Ninetta celebrates with her companions, but is worried about her father. He then appears with Ernesto, and all except the mayor enjoy a happy ending. Arias. The most famous aria in the opera is probably Ninetta's Prayer Day, Tu righi in tal momento. The soprano Cavatina di Piacer mi balza il cor, and the tenor Cavatina vieni fra quest braxia. The cabaletta for the duet between Arturo and Elvira from Bellini's I Puritani starts with exactly the same words ah. Act 1. Cavatina di Piacer mi balza il cor Ninetta. Cavatina stringi ferri e sacco. Cavatina vieni fra quest braxia Ginetto, o Brindisi tecumo, beviamo Pippo, mo Pippo. Tutto cum frener il pianto Ninetta e Fernando. Cavatina il mio piano e preparato podsta. Terzetto num benefico. Act 2. Tutto for sound di conoscere Ninetta e Ginetto. Aria si per voi, pupil ame podstit. Tutto eben, per mia memoria Ninetto e Pippo. Aria accusato di furto Fernando. Aria a questo sino Lucia. Lucia. Preghiera dei tu righi in tal momento Ninetta. Recordings. Film. An animated short film called ʻGazzA was made in 1964 by Giulio Giannini and Emanuele Lazzotti, using the overture as the soundtrack, with motion synchronized to the music. It was constructed by moving cutouts from frame to illustrate a story of a thieving magpie, centered on the magpie, unlike in the opera. In 1965, the film was nominated for an Academy Award and won the first Grand Prix of the Melbourne International Film Festival.